When someone deletes their photos on social media, it's for a reason. And these 8 personality traits reveal exactly why and what's really happening behind that behavior. Trait number 1, the validation withdrawal reflex. The photo goes up. The likes start trickling in. Then, hours or sometimes minutes later, it's gone. No explanation, no trace, just silence, where something once asked to be seen. This isn't indecision. When the numbers don't rise fast enough, when the silence feels heavier than attention, the brain reads that silence as rejection. That small lack of engagement lights up the same neural circuits as physical pain. It's social biology, not vanity. The human mind evolved to fear being ignored, because in ancient times, being ignored meant being left behind. So deletion becomes self-preservation. Erase the evidence, erase the wound. If you've deleted a post because it wasn't doing well, this is you. Trait number 2, the better version fallacy. The quiet whisper that says, I can do better. I can look better. I can be better. In the digital world, perfection isn't a goal. It's a loop. Every post becomes a prototype of identity. Every deletion, a draft torn apart before the ink dries. Psychologists describe this as self-editing behavior, a compulsive need to sculpt one's image into harmony with an internal ideal. But that ideal keeps shifting, because every scroll reveals another model, another standard, another algorithmically approved face. And so the loop deepens. Post, compare, delete, repeat. Not out of arrogance, but out of fear that one's digital reflection might betray what the real self cannot sustain. Trait number 3, the dopamine recalibration loop. The moment a photo is posted, dopamine surges. Anticipation, curiosity, reward. Then, when likes slow down, dopamine crashes. Deletion resets the cycle. The brain starts over, waiting for the next chance to feel seen, to feel chosen. Some researchers call this the dopamine recalibration loop. In this sense, the delete button becomes a needle, injecting a new hit of possibility each time it's pressed. If you find yourself deleting and reposting to feel that rush again, you're caught in this pattern. Sometimes, depth takes time to reach the right people. If you find meaning in this kind of analysis, consider subscribing. It helps the channel grow, and it tells the algorithm that thoughtful content still matters. Trait number 4, the fear of permanence. Beyond chemistry and control lies something quieter. People delete their photos because permanence terrifies them. The internet remembers too much, and to some minds, being frozen in time, even by a simple post, feels like entrapment. This is the fear of permanence. It's not vanity. It's existential. A fear of being known too early, too shallowly, too inaccurately. A fear that the version of you online might outlive the person you become. So deletion becomes a small rebellion against digital immortality. It says, I decide what survives, not you, not the feed, not the algorithm. It's control disguised as disappearance, power in the form of absence. Trait number 5, the identity drafter. People who constantly delete their posts often see themselves as works in progress. They don't treat their profiles as archives. They treat them as laboratories. Each photo, a trial version of self. Each deletion, a quiet revision. It's not that they hate who they were. It's that they're still deciding who they are. In that sense, deletion isn't destruction. It's evolution in motion, a living organism shedding skin that no longer fits. But the problem with endless editing is that the self never stabilizes. Without permanence, there's no mirror left to measure growth against. You can't know who you've become if you keep erasing the evidence. Trait number 6, the manipulator through absence. Deleting a post draws attention in reverse. People notice absence more than presence. They start wondering what happened, what changed, what was hidden. It creates curiosity. And curiosity is the purest form of power online, because mystery feeds engagement more efficiently than clarity ever could. So for some, deletion becomes strategy, a way to make their silence louder than others' noise, to weaponize restraint in a world addicted to display. This is psychological manipulation in its most elegant form, not forcing others to see you, but making them want to. Every disappearance becomes an invitation to imagine. Every erased image becomes a story others fill in themselves. If you've ever deleted something knowing people would notice and ask about it, this trait describes you. Trait number 7, the aesthetic perfectionist. They delete because the photo doesn't match their grid aesthetic, their color palette, their curated identity vision. Every post must fit into a larger visual narrative. If one image disrupts the flow, the harmony, the carefully constructed atmosphere, it gets erased. This isn't about validation from others. It's about maintaining internal coherence. Their profile is a work of art, and every deletion is quality control. They'd rather have 12 perfect posts than 50 inconsistent ones. If you've deleted photos simply because they didn't fit the vibe, you're an aesthetic perfectionist. Trait number 8, the privacy protector. They delete after realizing they've revealed too much, shared too vulnerably, exposed something they want back. In the moment, posting felt right, but hours or days later, the exposure feels dangerous. What seemed like authenticity now feels like oversharing. This trait isn't about insecurity, it's about boundary awareness. They recognize that once something is online, control slips away, so they reclaim it. They pull back what they've given. If you've ever woken up the next day and thought, "Why did I post that?" Before deleting it, you're a privacy protector. Now, the truth behind all 8 is this. Beneath all these layers, dopamine, fear, control, manipulation, lies something heartbreakingly human. A need to feel right within one's own reflection, because posting is an act of hope, and deleting is an act of honesty. A confession that the image didn't match the feeling. To delete a photo is to whisper, "This isn't me anymore." It's not about hiding from others. It's about trying to find oneself again, behind the noise, behind the filters, behind the endless choreography of approval. Psychology suggests that those who delete often are not weak. They are deeply sensitive to feedback loops. They feel the weight of exposure more intensely than others. They crave clarity, alignment, authenticity, even if they can't quite define it. And so they delete, again and again, searching for a post that finally feels real. Maybe that's the hidden lesson behind the delete button. It's not a sign of weakness, but of awareness. A quiet recognition that nothing we post can hold the full weight of who we are. That every image, no matter how beautiful, is only a fragment, a temporary fiction we eventually outgrow. So perhaps the psychology of deleting photos isn't about insecurity at all. Perhaps it's about remembering that the truest parts of us were never meant to be captured. They were meant to change, to vanish, to evolve. And maybe, in a world that demands constant visibility, the act of disappearing is not self-erasure, but self-respect. Does any of these traits describe you? Comment the number below. And if you recognized yourself in multiple traits, you're not alone. Most people who delete are combinations of 3 or 4 patterns.